Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to all the students and the teachers and the faculties of the school. I'm Anamika Sharma, and I represent Incubate IND. Uh, to give you a brief overview of what we do, we are an upskilling company. We work on various initiatives with the schools across the country. I'll share a small introduction of the organization, and post that you would be guided by Tanisha on the today's initiative. Right. So I am sharing my screen with you. Yeah. So here it is. So Incubate is India's fastest growing technology company. We work with marquee brands like Vistara, Unilever, Godrej, Tata, Microsoft, Google, and many more. So we have worked with 25 countries. We have created around 1,500 products so far. We do hackathons. We have a lot of big community of developers, designers, and entrepreneurs. Uh, what did we when we around 18 months ago, we were just looking around for what we can do with the students. We have been working with the university students and colleges across. So we realized that there's an urgent need for upskilling at the school level also, and that's what brought us to Incubate in X, which is a practical platform for school students and teachers on emerging technology and startups. So what do we do here? We talk about technology, we talk about innovation, we talk about problem solving, we talk about entrepreneurship, and we talk about future of education. So when I say that, how do we do it? So to do that, we actually.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Anamika. Your screen is not visible actually.
Is it not now?
No. Just can you click on the screen share button? I guess then it will be there's some issues, I guess.
I did. Okay. Can you see the screen now?
It's loading. Yes, now it's visible.
Yeah, is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible now.
All right. So I'm so sorry. What we're doing here is, as I mentioned, that Incubate. We started the school division with the name of Incubate Index, wherein we talk about. It's a practical education platform where we talk to the students and the teachers on emerging technology and startup. We work on technology, innovation, problem solving approach, entrepreneurship, and future of education. Um, this is the resource pool that we have. We have in best of the industry leaders who work with us. When I say we're best of industry leaders, we essentially mean that the industry, we work with the industry people, and we bring them to the schools to talk to our students and to kind of tell them about what are the latest trends and latest technologies. And these are the people who train them. For example, we have Mr. Ramanan Ramanathan, who was the mission director with Atal Innovation Mission. So he was a part of a esteemed pool of speakers when we hosted our School of AI program, that is School of Artificial Intelligence program. We work with Minecraft founder Santeri. He is a regular speaker and kind of a mentor for our students. We work with Jaideep Mahajan, who's a co-founder and CFO of Swish. And similarly, we have Ravinder, who's like a Harvard alumni, who actually works with Vistara also, and he's an ace in technology. So these are the people we work with. Like, we have more people, but yeah, these are essentially the mentors who guide us through the programs. So far, we have done a lot of work with the schools. We have worked with around 100 plus schools across the country. We have a pool of 40,000 students with whom we have worked through our various initiatives. So some of our initiatives are the Design Thinking Hackathon that we do regularly. We did a program called Hack the Future, which was basically, we did a workshop on automation with the Minecraft founder. And this particular workshop, we had participants participating from all across the country. We had also had some awards in this particular competition, like the students, the first student, the child who stood first, he got a prize of 25,000 cash. Similarly, we hosted a school of artificial intelligence. That's our, kind of a brand. We work with students across India and abroad. So this particular event, we invited students from India. We had participation from US, UK, Australia, and of course from Dubai. Similarly, we do these programs of School of Design, and we did some around a month ago. We did a program, a workshop on entrepreneurship. It was a 3-day workshop wherein the students who participated in this 3-day program, they were the top 20 students were awarded with the letters of recommendations for studying in India and abroad. So similarly, we did a workshop on Datathon. We have a dedicated school of code where we teach coding. We talk about web development to the students. We also hosted a masterclass in robotics with the students. So these are a few initiatives that we have worked around. School of Code, it's an ongoing one right now. And these programs, when we go to the schools, we essentially work on the experiential learning. We talk about more of a practical hands-on experience rather than giving you theoretical understanding. Apart from this, we do organize regular tech camps for the students from class 8 to 12, wherein we talk to them about AI, machine learning, robotics, UI, UX, Minecraft. So these are the programs that we do with the students across, spread across the various months. So this is a brief introduction of what Incubate does. And here, what we're trying to do is today, as I mentioned, that we work with great brands like Google and Microsoft and Facebook and all. So today, you are here to witness one of the programs brought in by Facebook, and Tanisha and Anuj are going to tell you more about how this AR thing will work. And over to you, Tanisha and Anuj.
Anuj, I think you are on mute.
Oh, I'm really sorry for that. This is one of the most common mistakes we do these days. So, yes, I was
No
saying
problem.
thanks for the wonderful introduction. And yes, today we are going to go with the basics and hands on training on Spark AR platform. And after this session, you'll be able to create your own AR filter. AR means augmented reality, and you can create your own augmented reality filter. And feel free to write your questions on the chat during the session, and at the end of the session we'll be taking them all together. And I'm just sharing my screen, then I'll start. Yes. So Facebook Spark AI Labs powered by Incubate IND hands-on session. I welcome you all for this session once again. And before starting, I would like to wish you all the best and you enjoy creating your own AR effect on Spark AI Labs and have fun. The agenda for today would be the basic introduction, which is going on right now. Why Sparkia? What is Sparkia? What is this initiative about? And opportunities and scope if you go into augmented reality. The process of participating in the contest and how to make your first AR filter. This is the context. This is the agenda for today's session. Let's start with what is this initiative about. Spark Your Labs is an initiative by Facebook to enhance the skills of Spark Your creators by providing them a platform where they can make augmented reality effects and filters and uplift the augmented reality community. So this is the first time on such a big level collaboration of Spark Your Labs with Incubate IND. Just give me a moment. There's a disturbance here. Yeah, I'm really sorry for that. I'll just start. Yes. So this initiative took place. We collaborated with Facebook Sparkia Labs to uplift the community, to give a platform to the students to build their own augmented reality, to get students starting with augmented reality and know more about that. And the second reason to select, to have this collaboration and selecting the two topics, that is saluting and appreciating the frontline workers, along with the getting celebrations and doing celebrations after getting vaccinated, so that everyone can understand that we need these two things. We need to appreciate the frontline workers and get COVID vaccine as soon as possible. Some people think that we don't need vaccinations, and you are safe if you don't have vaccination. But you need to know that you need to have vaccination. We can do this, just by sitting in front of your laptop, your desktop, and build your filters and do digital promotion, spread awareness digitally. So before processing forward, we'll just understand what is Spark Labs. So basically, if you do code, then it is like an ID. If you do graphic designing, it is like a Photoshop. And suppose if you play PUBG on your desktop, so it's just like an emulator for that. So it's similar that if you want to build augmented reality effects and filters, Spark is the studio to build that. In future, if you are going into augmented reality, what are the career opportunities? What are the opportunities which you can take? You can be a 3D artist, you can be a software developer, you can be a system validation engineer, software designer, design architect. These are some of the basic uh, and the top jobs roles or the career roles which you can have while you are into augmented reality. And the graph you're seeing, it shows the scale of augmented reality increasing day by day in different years throughout the 2016 2028. So let's get started with the Spark Labs registration process. Yes. So you need to go to this website. You need to register on this website. I will be sharing this website. Let me just share this website with you. Yes. So I have shared this website with you. If you haven't registered, make sure to register here. You need to register here. As you can see, you need to click on this register button, and then you will be directed to this form. You need to fill out the form, just your name, number, your which college or school you are, what is your date of birth, and then the registration process will be completed. Uh, Before proceeding forward, why I'm showing you through the slides and not the actual website is that because I have already completed my registration and I can't do it again. So that's why I'm using this presentation to show you the flow. The Spark Lab, when you click on the register button, you will be redirected to this dashboard, and you will see a Spark Labs button here. We'll go through these buttons later on, but right now we'll go with the process. You need to click on this button, then you'll be redirected to this page of Facebook Blueprint. Before registering on Facebook Blueprint, make sure that your Facebook ID is logged in, because the login process is through Facebook. You don't need to enter any password, you don't need to enter any ID, you need to have your Facebook logged in. As you can see, my name is Anuj and I already had my Facebook logged in. As soon as I click here on this login button, as you follow my arrow, you will be redirected to this page and you will see continue as your Facebook ID name. So when you click on continue Anuj, you'll be redirected to the next page where you need to select the required time. Now you will see a list of time zones. So what you need to do is that you need to figure out GMT plus 5:30 into the sequence. That would make it far easier rather than searching Kolkata, Mumbai, or New Delhi. Just follow and go for plus 5:30, and then you will find it. You can select any one of them. Just enter your mail address, email ID, click on terms and services, checking the box, and then done. You have completed your registration. Now it's time to proceed further. When you click on registration completed, you will be redirected to this page. You follow down a bit, you will see download Spark Studio, right? Just click on this button and then you will be redirected to this website. Click on download and your download has been completed. When you download, you you will see this icon after installing it. How do you install? After clicking the download button, you just need to click on next, next, install, next, and the same process similar to installing a game or any application. So this is how your the whole registration process will be completed, and this is how your whole studio download will be taken place. So after this, I would like to hand over the virtual mic to Tanisha to take on the session forward with the hands-on training. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Anuj, for walking us through the registration process. I hope the registration process is clear to you all, and I'll be teaching you how to make AR effects today on the Spark AR Studio. So, as Anuj told you, you guys might have already downloaded the Spark AR Studio. If not, you guys can download it now or after this session, because this session will be recorded and you can have a look at it later on as well. But I suggest you make the filters along with me as I move on with the session, so that if you guys face any issues or doubts, I can clear it right then and there, and it will be good for you all. So we will just begin with the session. I'll just share my screen and let's not waste any time and start making AR filters. So this is how the studio looks once you have downloaded it and you try to open it. This is the main page that will come. I hope my screen is visible and my audio is fine. So once we start working with the AR Studio, you'll understand more about it. Today's session is all about the basics of the studio and how you can make a very simple 2D effect. So the session is very basic one, because we know that many of you have never used the AR Studio in your lives, and it will be the first time that you will be working with something like this, or some of you might have used it earlier, but this is going to be a very basic and easy session so that any one of you can submit your AR effect and earn your rewards. So let's begin. So this is how the studio looks when you open it. We have many templates that we can work with. We have a post-processing filter, elements, wings, but I suggest you, whenever you start making a new filter, start with a new project, because that way you have better control over what you are adding to your filter, what you're doing with it. If you add something from here, that's also good, but we'll move on to that after we have started learning the basics of the studio. So for now, we'll click on new project and see how the studio looks. So this is what the main working panel looks, and this is the panel which we'll be working. And you guys might feel a little overwhelmed at the beginning, but I'll give you a quick introduction about how the studio works, what are the basic panels, and what are the options through which we can control our objects that we're adding to it. So first of all, this is the thing that might be intriguing. This is the real-time face stimulation that actually shows us how our effect will look on our phones. So you can see the phone model is mentioned here. We can change it according to ourselves, but that hardly makes any difference. So even if I change it from an iPhone to Samsung, it makes no difference. The size changes a little bit. That's all. But this is not the panel in which we can add or subtract things. This is just the preview window, which actually shows us how things are looking. The main panel in which we'll work is this one. So you might see a screen-like thing here with this face stimulation being presented here. So this is actually the panel we'll be working with. We'll be handling it for the next 1 hour or so. And I'll tell you how you guys can zoom it, rotate it, and everything. So first of all, if you try using your cursor to zoom it or scroll it up and down and right and left, it won't be possible in the Spark AR Studio, because the studio it's a studio to make augmented reality effects, so it works a little different from any other regular studio that you have used. So for that, what we need is, for zooming the screen in and out, we use Control and Alt button. So I'll just press Control and Alt and try to zoom the screen. So you can see now the screen has been zoomed in. But if I try without pressing the Control and Alt key, this won't work. So this is how the studio is working. And now I want to rotate it. So for rotating, we click on Control, and with the help of our cursor, we can set it wherever we want. So now you can see it's looking better than what it was looking previously. We've aligned it so that I have aligned it so that you guys can have a better look of what we are adding or subtracting, anything like that. And for moving it left to right, we just press the Alt key and we can swing it. So for zooming in and out, I told you Alt plus Control. For rotating, it's Control, and for moving left and right, it's Alt. So this is how our screen is looking, and we'll start adding things to it to make our effect come together and make it look like an actual effect that we see on Instagram and Facebook. So I hope by the end of the session you guys might be able to make one, even if not very complex, a very easy effect and earn your rewards. So now we'll talk about what are the basic panels in the studio, because before we jump into making the effects, I just want to give you a brief about how the studio works. So this is the scene panel. In this panel, all the objects that we add, for example, if I've added a font or a rectangle, all these objects will be added in this panel in a very well-defined manner. And when I say well-defined manner, what I mean is you'll get to know in a few moments when we start adding things. So this is a panel that's like an index. Whatever we add comes here. Just below it is the assets panel, in which we can export any kind of objects that we want. It can be 3D object, it can be a 2D object, it can be an audio file, a video file from our computer or from the AR library. So from your computer, you understand what I mean. You can just download the file what you want and import it here. But what is the AR library? So when you click on the AR library, it will take you to this library. So the AR library is basically inbuilt in the Spark AR Studio, and it has a bunch of cool things like any 3D object that you want to add, some music, sound, patch assets. For example, if I want to add a hat, I'll just search hat and options available for hat will appear here. And there are no in-app purchases. Everything available here is for free, so you can use that. So that was our AR library. We'll be using the AR library later on in the session when we make our effect. And this right here, this panel, is the panel through which you can control the real-time face stimulation. For example, if you want to change this, we can change the face of the real-time face stimulation to this or anything else. We can also add our own face and see how the filters are actually looking on our face by clicking on integrated webcam. This will activate your laptop's webcam and your face will appear here in the preview panel, and you can see how things are going on when you add more objects to your effect. So this is what you can do, but I'll just stick to this one because it will be easier for me to handle while I'm explaining you the process. So just below the video is a pause button through which you can pause the face stimulation. So for example, if you've added a hat and you want to align it on this person's head, it gets a little tricky when the video is moving. So we just pause it for that, and after we've aligned it, we can just play it. So this button for that. I told you this is the scene panel, this is the assets panel, and now coming to the main panel, the big panel on the right hand side. This is the inspector panel in which we manage and control everything that we have added. For example, we've added a rectangle here. Now I want to change the color or size of that rectangle. So for that, the work of the scene panel is done. We'll click on the rectangle from here and we'll jump onto the inspector panel. The inspector panel is the panel, as I told you, controls every object that we add. So you'll get to know more about it when we start making effects. This is just an introduction that I'm giving you all. So this is the inspector panel in which we add things and they appear, and we can control anything about it. For example, we can add a material to our object, we can change its color. If it's a text, we can change its font and everything else. So this was the basic introduction of the studio. As we can see, we have a publish button here and here as well. So the publish button is something we'll use to finally submit our effect when we've finally done that, and to get it and to submit it to Facebook and to make it in the review phase. So that is something we'll do later on. This was the brief introduction. Now let's start making the effect. So first of all, I will tell you that the effect that I'll be showing you all is a very basic effect. If you guys feel that you can make something complex or you want to learn something else, you can join us for our session on Sunday. But this session right now, especially for the school students, is a very basic one. We'll try to add something, some 2D object here and some text, and try to add certain animations to it. So as Anuj had already mentioned, the theme of our initiative is to celebrate getting vaccinated and to laud the efforts of the frontline workers that they have put in against the fight in the pandemic. So, whatever you make in this challenge after the registration process has to align with this theme, otherwise, your effect won't get accepted and it will be rejected. Of course, for your personal use, apart from the challenge, you can make whatever you want, and we have certain guidelines of what will be accepted and what will not be. So, they are not very strict guidelines, just some random things. For example, the file size requirement should be met, and there are certain things like regular community guidelines that every organization have. For example, your effect should not contain something objectionable, or it should not contain something which is not accepted, like a QR code. Suppose you try to add a QR code to your effect, so those things will not be accepted. Other than that, you're free to add, you're free to be creative. You can add a video, audio file, some confetti, glitter, anything you can add, but make sure it's in the view of the community guidelines. So that is when it will finally get accepted. Otherwise it won't. And of course, as I mentioned, after the session we'll have a Q&A. So whatever queries you have, you can ask there. Let's start making the filter. So first of all, as I told you, I plan to add a sticker saying thank you frontline workers here and add some text down here. We'll first start adding the objects. So I'll go to the scene panel, I'll click on add objects here, and first of all, I'll add a face tracker. So you can see a face tracker has been added. I'll unpause the video and show you. So nothing much has actually changed in our panel. It's just that a tracker type thing has come, and this is aligning with our face stimulations movement. And as our face is moving left, it's moving left. As it's moving right, it's moving right. So as the name suggests, the face tracker is a tracker that actually tracks the activity of the face. And now we'll try to add some more objects to it. So you might be wondering, if we want to add a sticker, why are we adding something called a face tracker? We're not adding anything to our face. So that's true, but what I want to do is I want to align the movement of that sticker with my face. So suppose if I've added something here, I just don't want it to be static. I want it to move along with the movement of my face. So that is what the face tracker will does. It will align it with my face movements. So now we've added the face tracker. Now let's see how can we add some image that I have downloaded from Google. So you can also add something similar. If you are making the effects right now simultaneously, you can try doing this. If you are not, then this session will be recorded. You can have a look after the session and make it. But remember, the end point is to make the submission to get your certificate and your t-shirt. So that will be done after your effect has been accepted and you've submitted it. So face tracker has been added. Now what we'll do is we'll right click on the face tracker. We'll add a plane. Now you can see there were many options to add a null object, a 3D object, but we have ended up adding a plane. So what is a plane? So as the name suggests, a plane, it's basically the platform on which I'll be adding the image, because as I told you, the studio is not a very common studio. We have certain set of rules when we work with it. So if I want to add an image, I can't directly click on or add object or import from computer and directly add the image. We have certain rules for that. We have to first add the plane, and then over the plane we'll add the image. So this is how everything in the studio works. So I'll just click my panel here, and as you can see, the plane is a 3D object. Therefore we have 3 axes for controlling its alignment. If we want to make it shift to a little right, we can click on this red axis, which is the x-axis. And if we want to shift it to little up, we'll just click on this green axis, which is the y-axis, and place it. And we have a z-axis, which actually controls how forward or backward it will look. So with this z-axis, we can control the alignment here. So I've set it right here because this is where I want to place my sticker. Of course, you can move it and place it wherever you want in the screen according to your imagination and creativity. So, but I have done this, I've placed it here. Now we want to remove this checkered thing here. And how will we do that? So before that, I would tell you that I was dragging the axis in the panel and aligning it with our face stimulation. But there's another method of doing that. If you come to the inspector panel and notice it, we have position, rotation, scale here as well. So if we want to change the position, without touching the axis. We can do that by clicking and manually entering the values where we want the plane or whatever object we've added. So as you can see, if I change the position of y-axis here, the position of the y-axis in the inspector panel also changes. So if you don't feel comfortable with the axis, you can just come to the inspector panel, manually type in what values you want, and that will be done. Below the position, we have the scale option. Now in the scale option, it basically determines the size of the object that we've added. So initially, whenever you add any object in the Spark AR Studio, the alignment is always set to 111. But if you want to change it, you can of course do it. For example, if I now add 2 here instead of 1, you can see the size automatically changes. So this is how you can control objects. Now I'll just set it back to 1. This was just what I was showing you guys. Rotation also you can set, but rotation is a bit tricky. We have a panel to control rotation here as well. So if you want to rotate the screen, click on this button and something like this will appear and you can rotate it as well. So as I told you, rotation and everything is really easy in this panel. And just one tip, if you guys are using a laptop and if you have a mouse at home, just connect the mouse with your laptop before using the Spark AR Studio, because it will be easier for you guys at first controlling the studio. I mean, I don't have a mouse right now with me, so I'm just using a laptop's touchpad, and also I'm pretty comfortable using the studio, so I can work with the touchpad. But when you're starting to work with the Spark AR Studio, it's better to have better control over the panel. So now we'll change this checkboard effect that we have on our plane. So for that, we'll click on material and add a material. Now what is a material? A material, you can consider the material like the wrapping of a gift box. So whatever objects we add, we have to add a material for it. We can't otherwise change how it appears. So for example, we've added a text and we want to change the color of it. The color can only be changed when we add material to it. Without adding the material, we can't change the appearance of the objects that we've added. So now you can see a gray colored material has been added and that checkered pattern has gone. Now where has the material been added? It has come to assets panel. So this was what I was talking about. This is the hierarchy in which Spark AR Studio adds object. You can see here as well. We added the face tracker and a plane, and it has come automatically under it. And also depending upon the version of the studio that you are using, there might be tiny changes here and there, but overall the studio looks same. There might be slight changes in the way things are appearing or in the way the alignment has come, but that makes no difference. Your final effect won't be changed because of that. So we've added a material. Now we will move to the final step, that is adding the image that I've downloaded. For that, I'll click on material from the assets panel, click on textures in the inspector panel. So the flow goes like this. If you want to control an object you've added, select that particular object from scene panel or from the assets panel, then head to the inspector panel and make changes to it. So this is how the flow goes. So I'll choose a file and I have many objects, many images that I've downloaded. So I'll just click one and you can see the image that I've added had come in place of the plain object. So I'll just unpause the video and show you how it works. So you can see, since we've added a face tracker, the image that we added is now aligning with the movement of our real-time face stimulation, and it is moving with the movement of our face. If our face is coming front, it's coming frontwards. If it's moving to the left or right, it's moving left and right. So that is what the face tracker did to it. Now, if you want to increase the size a little bit, I'll just go to plane again, because plane is where we have added this image. I won't click on this image here and try to change its size. I'll click on the plane because the plane is on which we've actually added the material. So I'll just change the scale to 1.5 say and see how it looks. Okay, 1.5. So of course you can play around with numbers and see what suits best for what effect you are making. So 1.5 here as well. It's a little big. Let's just keep it to 1.3. Okay. And I don't feel like there's a need of changing it on the Z-axis. I'll just shift this sign a little bit here and see how things are looking now. Okay, so the sticker that we've added is quite big, it's visible and it's looking fine. Let's try making the effect that we're trying to make a little bit more attractive. Let's add some more color to it, let's add some more objects to it. So what I plan to do is, my sticker already says Corona Warriors thank you. So I just want to add a text that says salute to COVID warriors or something like that. So for that, I will go to the scene panel again. I'll click on add. I'll add a 2D object, a rectangle. So now you can see the checkbox has come again, but there's slight difference this time. Earlier when we added the plane, we got 3 axes like this along with the checkbox. Now if we click on this, the 2D rectangle that we've added, we don't have access to control it. That is because the plane that we added was a 3D object, and this rectangle that we've added, it was a 2D object. As you can see, we've added a 2D object. So it's simple to control 2D objects rather than the 3D objects. So with the 2D objects, I can just simply drag it and put it wherever I want on the screen. I want it here. We don't need to use the inspector panel for it unless and until it's really required. I'll just increase the width a little bit by simply clicking here and dragging it. So as I told you, it's easier to control the rectangle that we've added because it's a 2D object. We'll do so. So I'll just increase its width. We can do that from here as well. The height width options are given, and but since the updates have made it's easier for the user to use the Spark AI Studio, now it is pretty user friendly. So and what I was telling about the update is that sometimes you might not get the option to drag the 2D objects in the panel. For that, what you can do is you can head to the inspector panel and use these alignments that are given here. So if I do like this, so it will align here. If I do like this, it will come in the middle of the screen and things like that. But I think in most of the versions now, it's not asking for this particular alignment. We can simply use our dragger and increase the size, increase the width, whatever we want. But in some cases, if that issue occurs, you can definitely go to the inspector panel. We have solution to everything in this particular panel. This is basically the master panel in which we are working. So now again, to remove the checkbox in the similar way that we did for the plane, we'll try to get rid of this checkered pattern. But before that, we can see we have already added one material which says material 0. So we'll just rename this material, and I remember we added this material for the plane that we added. So I'll just click on plane material and I'll name it as plane material. This is because as we keep on adding objects one by one to the studio, a lot of materials are created in the assets panel and we don't want to get confused between them, and it's always better to name it. So now we'll go to our rectangle again, head to the inspector panel, from the scene panel to the inspector panel, and we can see we have an option to add material here. You can add the plain material as well, but that is something we'll keep separate. We'll click on new material and a new material has been created. It's also in gray color, so whatever material add, at first it will be gray. You can accordingly change the color, whatever you want. Just click on it and rename it. Let's name it as the rectangle material because as I told you, we don't want to get confused when we add more objects. So now we have two materials, one for the plane, one for the rectangle. So I'll just click on rectangle material, and now I want to change the color of it. I want to make something in this green color that our sticker has. So I'll click on color, and we can see we have a wide options of color here. So let's select something like this and try to arrange it. It's looking similar to our sticker. Let's click on this. One thing more, if you know a code of particular color and if you want that particular color in your effect, you can just add the code here. So as you guys might be aware, each and every color that we have has a particular code. We can search for that code and put it here in the HTML box. The particular code color will be added, but we have a pretty much wide range of colors to choose from in the AR Studio itself. We don't need to do that here. We'll just click on OK. And you can see the color has also changed now. Now I'll just unpause it and see how things are looking. Sorry. So here we can see that our uh, rectangle box that we've added is green in color, but I want to make it a little transparent so as to give it a better look. So I'll just click on rectangle material from here, and I'll move down. I'll just scroll down. As I told you, if we have the rectangle material we should have selected. As I told you, if you have a mouse, it's always better to use a mouse because it gets a little tricky with the touchpad. So I'll just go down and see there's an option to select how opaque our material is looking. So I want to make it a little transparent. I'll just click on this slider and adjust according to myself. So you can see you can make it totally transparent or you can make it totally opaque. We'll just keep it a little bit on this side. Okay, now this is looking better. And now let's start adding some text to the effect that we made. For that, we have two options. We can add a 2D text or we can add a 3D text. So we have already added a 2D object. We added a 3D object as well. But now let's see how we can add a 3D text. So we'll just go to the scene panel here. We'll click on add 3D objects and we can see we have options here: plane, null object, 3D object, face mesh. What are these? We'll work with them in the next effect that we make. We'll just click on 3D text. So now we have added a 3D text and you can see now, as I told you, for the plane also it's a 3D object, so 3 axes have come here. We can control them. I'll just place it here and take it to the box, and you can see as I'm changing the position here, the position in the inspector panel is also changing. So you can do that, of course, but when we have the access, we don't need to numerically put in the values until and unless we have to make very micro changes. And what I mean by micro changes, that also I'll show you in the next effect that we make. So now we have the text here, and in the inspector panel we have an option to type in whatever we want. So let's just say salute to COVID heroes. And guys, remember to not use any hashtags while you're making salute to COVID hero. Okay. So while you're making the effects, do not add any hashtags. Hashtags are cool, I know, but they're not accepted. So your efforts and time will go in vain if you do that. Don't add hashtags. Just add simple text. You can add whatever you want and how many texts you want, but don't add hashtags, otherwise it won't get accepted and you won't be able to use it on social media accounts. So now we can see the text has been added and it's little out of the rectangle box. So how we can control that is we can try to change the scale of the text that we've added from the inspector panel, and you can see it's already very small. It's 0.00125. So now let's try and make micro changes to it. As I told you right now that if you want to make micro changes, it's then when we head to the inspector panel. So here, I'll just make it to 1.5. Now you can see I changed the x-axis, and on the x-axis it's changed a little bit, but it's still out of the box on the y-axis. So I'll do something similar for the y-axis as well and see how things are looking. So let's click on 1.5. And we can see that this is better now. We just need to align it in the box. All right, we have aligned it in the box and we have changed the size of it. We've added a material. Now we need to add a color. So we can see a new material and color of everything that we've added can be changed from here. So we'll go to 3D text. So everything that you want to select and work with, you have to select from the scene panel, as I told you, and then head to the inspector panel. So I selected 3D text from here. We have options here, a lot of options. We can change the text that we've added. We can change the letter spacing. We can change the font. As you can see, I'll just try to change the font. Now the font has changed. And all these things that we can do from the inspector panel, as it's a master panel. UV wrapping, and that is something we'll see later on. It's something not to indulge in when you are just getting started with the studio. So we have the 3 materials here. Now you might be wondering why we have 3 materials here. The text is only 1. So this is because the text is a 3D text. So when you get a closer look at it, you can see that we have three materials because it has three axes. So we can change and make materials for each one side, for the front side, for the side, and for the back side. Let's get started one by one. So click here on the front side, create a new material. A new material has been created and you can check the name from here. It says material 1. Let's rename it because, as I told you earlier, also to avoid confusion and to save time, we'll just rename everything. It's the front text material. Okay, so now I have to change the color of it. So similarly, like we did for the object and for the rectangle that we've added, just click on front text material, click on color, and let's see how it's looking. Alright, so now our text is black in color because we selected black, and you can see it is only applied to the front side because we only selected the front material. Now if we want to add a back material is not visible from here, but when we just rotate it, back material will also be visible. Side materials are visible. You can add material similarly with for the text as well. You can also control how transparent the text looks from here. You can see by this slider here. So these are the basic things that we need to learn when we are actually using the studio. So as I told you earlier also, this is the most basic effect that you can make. Now, if you understand till here, let me just tell you how can you add some objects from the AR library. As I told you, we have a bunch of cool objects here as well. You can of course import it from your computer like we did the 2D image, but we have used that. So let's see how things work with the AR library. So let's click here, and our theme is related to frontline workers, and let's see if there's something in accordance to frontline workers. Let me just type doctors here and see what we have in store in the library here. We have pretty much nice stuff here. Let's just click on this Dr. Mario and see how this object will look. So at this point of time, when I clicked on import free, the AR Studio might direct you to your Facebook account because this whole initiative is of Facebook and the AR Studio also belongs to Facebook. So if you have not logged into your Facebook account while registering for the challenge, and if you're trying to import something from the library, at this point it will direct you to your Facebook account. If that happens, you just have to log into your account, come back here, refresh the page, and it will be done. I have already logged into my Facebook account, so it's not taking me there. I'm just getting an option to done. So I'll just click on done. And as we head to back to our studio, we can see that we have added the Mario, but it can't be seen anywhere in the screen. But it's here in the assets panel. So where is it? It has actually been added to our panel, but we can't see it because we have not aligned it with the face. So just give me a second, I'll show you how it is done. So you can also submit the effect at this point of time if you have done it. So it can be done till here. You can just submit it right now if you want, but if you want to make it a little bit more attractive, what we'll do it, we'll just click on it. We'll just click on this panel that we've added, right click on it, expand all. And why we are expanding it is because we want to see how many materials we've added here. So you can see there are a lot of inbuilt material here, and we can actually change each and every material present in the Dr. Mario effect object that we've added. So if you want, for example, he was wearing a white colored coat and we want to change the color to a red, we can do that by simply selecting the material and change the color. But that is something very complex. We won't deal with that today. We'll just drag this Dr. Mario from here and place it between the focal distance and the ambient light. Now you can see in a moment the Dr. Mario will appear in a very huge size. So now you can see the size is very big, and you might get overwhelmed at this point of time. You might be confused what to do. So it's very simple. You just have to head to the inspector panel, but first select Dr. Mario from here. Select that from the scene panel. Click here, and you can see we have options here again. So I told you we can control the image or whatever objects that we are adding from the axis, of course, but here we are trying to make a very micro changes, because the effect that we've added, it's really very large and we want to control its size, which is not very easy with the axis. So we'll just head to inspector panel, click on scale, and we'll just make the size a little small. I'll just make it 0.05 on the x-axis and 0.05 on the y-axis, similarly on the z-axis. Now you can see that thing is gone. The gigantic Dr. Mario has come to a smaller size. It's looking better. And we'll just align it with the help of the axis. Just a minute. Oh, I'll just drag it down here. And of course, with the panel, we can control its alignment. I'll just try to bring it a little more forward, and that is what we have. And we can just, with the z-axis, we can just bring it a little forward. So this is what I have done. This is the effect that I have made. And I think for a basic session, this is enough. Let's start to submit it. You can just pause it and you can just have a look at how it is looking on your face with this video. And you can of course do many things with it. If you want to add something more, if you want to explore the studio, you can do that. But for now, I'll explain you the process of publishing it, because that's the most important step. I'll just click on publish from here. You don't have to separately open the Spark AR Studio. You can directly go to the publish button and you can publish your effect here. Just give me a moment, guys. Okay, so what I was telling you, we have to publish the effect. Now we have two options: to publish a new effect and to update an existing effect. So since we have not submitted any effect right now, we'll just publish a new effect. So I'll click on publish new effect. This is a demo video that you can add, but it's totally optional. If you don't want to add it, you can do that. You can skip this part. The file size requirement should be met. If your file is a little large, the studio will itself compress it. There's no need to worry about it. Just click on upload here and we'll be redirected to the Spark AR Hub. As I mentioned, we don't need to separately open the Spark AR Studio in the browser, the Spark AR Hub in the browser. The studio will itself direct us there. So it is being uploaded. Depending upon the size of your file, it will take time. It might take 1 minute or 2 minutes. Since our effect is a very basic one, it's not taking much time and it has redirected us here. Now we can just look at this here. And we can see we have options here. We just have to fill out these details, not many details, just a few details, and click on submit. I'll show you how you can do that. You can give a name to your effect. For example, I have actually ended up submitting a lot of effects because of this challenge. So I'll just name it COVID Warrior Effect. And you can of course add your name also, so that when someone uses it, your name comes in. It says dash XYZ effect by this person. File has already been exported by the Spark AR Studio, and we have options to select the platforms on which we want to publish it. If you want to publish it on Facebook and Instagram both, select both. On one, then one. My Instagram account is not currently linked here. I have only logged into my Facebook account, so it's not showing me the option to add the Instagram here. But of course I can link it right now, but I don't want to do it, so I'll skip it. You guys can select the platform according to yourself. Now in the audience panel, we have the options like public and link only. So if you want to keep your effect in the public domain, you want it to be visible to everyone that is coming to Instagram and seeing the various effects available on the stories, you can keep it public. Or if you want to keep it a little private, you can just click on link only. So for now, I'm just clicking on link only because my Instagram is not linked here. We'll just go scroll down and we can see we have an option to upload an icon, which is totally optional. If you want to save some time, you can skip it. If you want to do that, you can just, the icon is basically an image of yourself trying the effect that you have made. You can publish that. All these details have been filled. You can see the name has been filled, the audience and publishing platforms have been selected. Now we just have to click on publish and that will be almost the last step of the effect that we have created. So depending upon the size that of the file that you have curated, the time might vary, because we have created a very simple file. It will be uploaded in 50 to 60 seconds. But if your file size is a little big, if you have added objects that are really big, so it might take 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, so now we have a panel that says you've published your effect and view link. So if you want to share it on platform other than Instagram and Facebook, we'll just click here, copy that link, it's done. And here you can see, when you click on this part, the effects part, you can see the effects that you have submitted will come here, and we can see the review status will also come. So my effect has been accepted, yours will also be. If you have added if you have not added something that is out of the community guidelines, it will be accepted. But if you have added something that needs review, it will be in review stage. So it takes usually 1 to 2 days for a effect to get accepted. You have to wait that time. But one thing that you have to do is, the last step, you have to take a screenshot of this page and submit it on the Incubate dashboard that Anuj showed you in the beginning. So that is the last step of the process, so that you guys have proven that you have actually submitted an effect, and we have proof that you guys have done it, so that we can send your reward across to it. You can submit your effect while it is in the review phase, or while it has after it has after it has been accepted. That makes no difference. But make sure to submit the effect, because submit the screenshot, because that is very important. So that actually marks the end of our session. I'll just take the Q&A now. If we have any questions, I'll just stop sharing my screen, and if you guys have any doubts, then you can ask me. Just give me a moment. Yeah, just put your doubts in the comment section if you want. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I'll just answer your queries. And also you can connect with us on our Slack channel. We have curated a Slack channel where we are constantly addressing your queries. You can see that channel. Okay, can we use it in Mac OS? Of course, the software is available for both Mac and Windows both. How do we align the sticker above the head? Yeah, so as I told you, it's pretty easy to do that. Using the 3 axes that we get, the X, Y, and Z axis, we can easily drag it anywhere in the screen and place it wherever we want. So if you want it above your head, you can do that. And yeah, can we submit the screenshot even if it's in the review? Yeah, of course you can submit the screenshot when it's in the review also. That makes no difference. You just have to submit the studio. But the version is 10.10. Yeah, I don't think there's any difference to that. You can try downloading the studio. It is available for Mac and Windows both, I think. We have not faced any issues. Yeah, can you please tell the definition of AR? So yeah, basically AR means augmented reality. And what is augmented reality? You guys are already using, I mean, how the world is already using the stickers and cool effects that we see on Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook. So that is what is augmented reality. Something that comes on your face or your hand whenever you are trying to do this. So all these effects that we're trying to make today were augmented reality. How do we get access to the Slack channel? I'll just put a link to the Slack channel right now. Yeah, by when can you submit? The last date is 20th June. That is Sunday. So you have 2 days. Make your effect, submit it. And as Anuj also mentioned, and I have also mentioned, after your effect has been accepted and you have submitted the screenshot, we'll actually be sending you a certificate, and we'll actually be sending you a t-shirt as a reward to appreciate your efforts. Where to upload the work? Okay, where to upload? Yeah, as I told you, you can upload it. I'm sure you're asking about publishing effect, right? Yeah, so publishing, as I told you, on the Spark AR Studio, there was an option to publish it. Just click on that option and you'll be redirected to the Spark AR Hub. Just fill in a few details and you'll be able to upload your effect. And if you're asking about the screenshot, then the screenshot has to be uploaded on the dashboard of Incubate Ind. The login ID that you created was the first step that Anush told you with that. How many seats are available for the workshop? So it's an open workshop. Anyone can join. We are having a workshop on 20th as well. If you want to join that, we'll be showing something of higher notch there, because this was a very basic workshop. And if you want to learn more about it, so you can join us on 20th June. I'll just drop our Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn handle. Just follow these handles, and you'll find each and every detail of every workshop that we conduct. Yes, you can remove the object, the background object. You can change it. We have actually made a video about that. It's on our channel, Incubate In. You can see that. And if you want me to repeat that, you can join us on the workshop that is going to take place on 20th June. I'll explain all that there. Yeah, it is asking for a 10.14 version of Mac. So what you can do is, for that, just click on, just go to Google and search if it's showing an open GL error. I'm sure it might be showing something like that. So you can resolve the query there. It actually depends upon the configuration of your laptop. We can't pretty much help regarding that from here. Is there any website for the same? Yeah, I'll just drop a link to the Slack channel. Just give me a moment. I'll just do that so that you guys can connect with us and you guys have better access to what you're making. If you guys get stuck anywhere and if you guys need to ask me anything, we are available on the Snack channel. It's a small community of all the people who are trying to submit their AR effects, and just putting a link to that. Yeah. Just wait a minute. I'll just put a link. Yeah, so this is the link of the Slack channel that I have put in. Students of which class? There's no age limit to it. Anyone can participate in this challenge. Working professional, university students, school students, anyone can participate. Can we use any other applications? No, actually you can't. For this particular challenge, you have to use Spark AR Studio. Open the Studio app. Yeah, so open the Studio app. You can, after your download has been completed, just run the application. It will open, and depending upon your laptop's configuration, it will take a few moments. Like if you are using a laptop which has a graphic card, it might run a little faster. But if you are using a normal laptop without a graphic card, it will take a little time, but it will of course work. It works on all configurations. Will we get yeah, so you get a certificate and t-shirt only when the effect gets accepted, and it usually gets accepted. Like a lot of people have submitted. I mean, more than 1,000 people have ended up submitting their effects, and each of them's effect has gotten accepted. As I told you, just keep the community guidelines in mind and your effect will be published. There will be no problem to it. Yeah, so for the system requirements, sorry, we can't really do anything about your system's configuration from here. You have to have a look at your laptop for that, update it. Yeah, is it fine to use a website for Spark AR? Is any? Yeah, I told you, the video will be available. We have actually recorded 3 more videos. You can have a look at all 3 of them, and I have just added our Insta, LinkedIn, and YouTube accounts name. I'll just add it one more time. You guys can check that out, and it will be really helpful if you see those videos and try to make the effects. Can we do it online? No, actually, you have to have the studio in your laptops for that. Try using some other studio or try updating the studio or your laptop, I would suggest. How will we get the t-shirt? So yeah, join the Slack channel for that. We'll be floating a form, something like that. Collect your address after the 20th June. So after 20th, when the challenge concludes, we'll begin the process of sending across your rewards, your certificates, and your t-shirts. Yeah, so yeah, of course, for the t-shirt you need to give us the address. So we'll circulate a form hopefully for that. Join the Slack channel, or we'll send it over to your mail, but I think it will be better if you join the Slack channel. Okay, where can you can access all the, okay, I'll just put it one more time, all the videos here on this YouTube channel on which this is currently streaming. So how to send you the effect? Yeah, you can send us the effect on Slack channel. We have actually seen really good effects that students and people have created, so we'll be really excited to have a look at your effect and use it. So this is something we'll be waiting for. Yeah, so window installer and all those error, that's a system error, we can't really help it. But if anything else that you want me to explain, the registration process was done by Anuj. Is it fine if we use website for Spark AR? If any, there is a website for Spark AR. Of course, you can have a look at it and understand how the studio works. But to actually make the effect, you have to download it. It won't work online. Is it compulsory? No, I mean, no, it's not compulsory. Yeah, if you guys want to participate in the challenge and show off the filters that you have created on social media, I think it'd be a really cool experience. You should try it. I mean, people of your age should definitely indulge in these activities. Uh, yeah. Yeah, so for the registration process, so you just need to click on a link and register, like you register for any other challenge or any other app for that matter. When you make an ID, you just have to put in your email address, a few things about your, and the registration process will be done. Yeah, I'll just drop a link to the registration also. Yeah, the last step before about the acceptance. Yeah, so last step was that once you have uploaded your effect, you need to take screenshot of the effect that says your effect is in review or it has been accepted. Just take a screenshot of that from your phone or from your laptop, and just simply upload that screenshot on the dashboard that was created when you actually registered for the challenge. And how you will register, I'll just put a link to that also. So So I think we have taken up pretty much all the questions. We're running out of time also. If you guys have any queries, just connect with us on the Slack channel or any of Incubate's Insta handle, LinkedIn handle, wherever you guys message, we'll reply. And for now, I think we are done. I have explained you each and every process. The registration process was done by Anuj. Everything is done, and I thank you all for, yeah. Will you get the T-shirt after 20th June? So 4 5 days after that you will get it. Regulations are not just, they have to keep it under the community guidelines and be respectful to whatever you are making. You have to have a Facebook account for that. Instagram account is not compulsory, but Facebook account is compulsory. So I think I've taken pretty much every question. If any other questions you have, don't hesitate, just connect with us on any of Incubate's channel. I've also added a link to the Slack channel. I'll add it once again. Just join this channel. We are available there. We'll give you personal attention if you want it. We'll help you in making your effect. Thank you all for, yeah, it is compulsory to have a Facebook account. And thank you all for joining us for this session today. I really enjoyed interacting with you all. I hope you did so. And we're really excited to see the effects that you'll be making. And just share with us on the Slack channel. We'll be happy to help you. Thank you and have a great day.